Good morning, my crafty friends. It's Krista here from Second Chance Creation. I hope you're all well and happily crafting. I've got to make this video really quick. My apologies, and also my apologies. I did make a video when I was making the cover, and it just did not record. I don't know what happened, and I've had quite a few interruptions. So I just ended up finishing it. So because I was going to do it in parts, but I will make another journal and I'll show you the process. So my apologies. It just wouldn't go right with me at this point in time. Quite a few things are happening around here. So anyway, so as you all know, I was doing another little horse journal just with a bit of a twist. And excuse me, I've just got to have a sip of coffee. It's early in the morning. Early Monday morning here in Australia. And of course, this being the Fairy Foal journal, which will go into my shop this week. And I have changed the cover quite a bit. The colouring, I've done some acrylic painting and I've put some gold in it. I used my favourite eyelash trim. I've used the little embossed, now someone asked me how I made these. I've actually got, you know, those embossing plates, and it's a, the pattern is like a frame, I do believe. And what I've done is I actually cut the corner pieces out to make this. And I just paint it with some acrylic paint. So that's what that is. It's not an individual die cut or anything. It's through an embossing folder, and I've just cut out the piece that I wanted once I embossed it to make the book corners. So that's how they eventuated. But yeah, so it's about finding fairy foals in the garden, and hence here's a little lantern there in a bed of daisies, and I've popped on some piece of glitter, which is the same as on the spine. And just behind the hand I've popped it just to give it a bit of sparkle. I didn't want to make it too whimsical. I hope it isn't. The journal itself has two Midori style signatures. The signatures are sewn, but then they're slipped in under the elastic, so you can use this cover over and over again. I've attached some really beautiful beads. It's a variety of bits and bobs from necklaces, some beautiful glass beads, and just what I had in my stash, some butterflies there. Yeah, so, and I thought, oh, that looks so cool. So yeah, so, and I didn't have the corners for the back. I decided not to put them on, but also my little Sophie, fur baby, decided, she found one on the floor and decided it was time to chew it up. So I only ended up with 3, and I used the 3rd one inside. So just bear with me, folks. I just need another drink of coffee. So yeah, so it has 2 signatures, and I can't remember how many pages, but I'll put that in my Etsy store. It measures nearly 24 centimeters, which equates to 9.5 inches by 6.25 inches with a spine of 1 3/4. Lots of room. I didn't overstuff it, so I can add pages in there. So let's venture in. I hope you enjoy the journey. Now there's a story to this, and it's about Savannah, the little fairy that's lived in this garden for a long time, and she watched the children grow up of the household. Anyway, Savannah discovered some fairy foals for the first time, so she just couldn't help herself but go over to one of the little girls that's really switched on with birds and butterflies, and this little girl is the only girl in the family that can actually see the little fairy Savannah. So she whisked over to her and said, come and have a look at this in the garden. I discovered some fairy foals. Go and tell your sisters. So this is how it eventuates. So, and of course Savannah looks back at this time when all this happened, as you'll see at the end. So here is Savannah when she's quite small. So this is the first signature. And of course, in my last video, you would have seen where I've made my own background papers with fabrics that I copied on my printer. And I've used the original papers that were in this book, so that it just looked really cool. And I just inked it up a little bit. I put a little plate there. I used some last piece of handmade paper, and of course the bookmaker's note. And then here I have a index card, altered index card with the vellum pockets, and it holds 2 of my scrappy little notepads. Okay. And I've put a little tab there, and you can journal on the back. So it's been glued and stitched, and that just sits just nicely just in there. Okay. And I'm still in my dressing gown this morning because it's a bit early and a bit cool. So, okay, Savannah has discovered something rather unusual living in her garden. They are very small and secretive, but if you look carefully, you can see them racing the bees and chasing the dandelion seeds for breakfast. So here she discovered a fairy foal on top of a flower. The pages have all been coffee dyed and inked, and I used this pretty eyelash trim throughout. Here's one of the pictures with the fairy foals. This is the papers of the photocopied the fabrics. So I've left pages blank to journal on. It's not overstuffed. Okay. Here's a pocket, and I've used a black and white piece here. Every morning I look through my window at the garden outside. Sometimes the light shines like gold through the leaves, making it look quite magical. But even when the days are dull, there's still so much to see. Have you ever admired the variety of plants and insects in the parks or bushlands around you? So this is one of the little girls in the house. She looks out the window each morning. Goes in a pocket. This pocket's made from my tissue box, and I put it through the embosser. Okay. Here is one of the sisters that just went out in the garden, just like the Savannah, the fairy said to go out, and you'll find the fairy poles. So fairy foals. So here she is sitting on a big rock, and she looks down, and there she saw this fairy foal whizzing through the grass. Did a bit of stamping here. A lot of fussy cutting. One of my papers that I printed the fabrics on. I copied the fabrics on. And here's a fairy foal just sitting on a stem having a rest. And one of the girls discovered it, so she quietly snuck up on it to have a look. This is one of my 50 plus years vintage stickers, and I actually fussy cut her out. This is from one of my fabrics that I copied onto the paper, representing sort of like woody sort of theme. And on here she's discovered 2 fairy foals. One is in the log, one is on top. Here I've used a piece of die cut that was gifted to me probably about 2 years ago. I'm starting to use them now. And of course, look at this pretty little thing. And there's a few surprises in this journal that I will keep as surprises for you for when it's purchased. And look at this, isn't this gorgeous? Dewdrops shine like angels' tears and sparkle fragile notes of light. Within my thoughts are deepest fears, the dawn of hope beyond the night. And then the joy of sunrise brings both warmth and light to earth below, and I spread forth my sapphire wings to capture that eternal glow. Isn't that a beautiful poem? Just had to put it in there. Here's another die cut there. And here I've just made a tag from my children's book. The background again is from one of my lace fabrics. Fussy cut out this beautiful fairy foal. This is the middle of the signature, and of course some beads. Finished off the the signatures are sewn in with the 3-stitch pamphlet stitch, and then just slipped under the elastic. Okay, so you can add to it or you can take them out. And here she is. Always believe that something wonderful is about to happen, and she obviously spotted a little fairy foal. I did a bit of punching just so that you can see some of the different colors through here, just a bit of interest. And it's just a flip out, so you can journal on that. There's quite a few. Here's another one. Here is a beautiful adult fairy foal, or fairy horse I should say. Here's another one. This is one of my vintage stickers, a frog. And being in the garden, every garden needs a frog, so I thought I'd pop him in there. Here's the third little corner, and I've used it as a little tuck. I've put a belly band on here, but this is actually, you can open this up and just read it. Now this is a very, you could say an affirmation poem. Probably maybe you could use it in a lifetime as well. And it's probably about being strong. Throw me a challenge and I'll fight it today. Show me danger and I'll scare it away. I'm not in the mood for waiting around. I haven't the time to stay on the ground. Where are the dragons? I'm ready to charge. Are there no ogres or giants at large? My mind is alert. I don't want to keep waiting, dreaming and hoping and anticipating. Everyone knows that life is too short. I'm on my toes and primed for some sport. I know that you'll say I'm not ready yet to take on the world for all I can get. I'm young, but I'm strong. It must be my time. Courageous and fast, I'm in my prime. But sadly I know, and this is the worst, wisdom takes years and I must grow up first. Now, isn't that so true? Gives me goosebumps every time I read it. So this just tucks in here. Okay, and I've popped that pocket. This is one of my painted papers. This is actually, now what did I put that in there for? Oh, it's a thing that I've got to do. Okay. When I printed this out, the ink cartridge run out and it was a different colour, and I really didn't want to waste it. So I made it look as though it was sort of, wandering into the garden there, hiding. And this page here, again, the ink ran out. And I thought I had something popped in there, but I haven't. Just let me have a look here. Just so that I can show you. So this ran out. So I've added another piece of paper on top. Made this little area a little tuck spot. Fussy cut this out, and this represents, it's, galloping around in the moonlight, and the moonlight is shining onto this flower. It's just really how it all come about. So, and of course they're all settling in for the night, so I'll probably make a little tag or pop some paper in there, or maybe another scrappy notepad. So here's another one of the little girls. She snuck up on this nest that she found and had a fairy foal asleep. I wonder what he dreams about. And this is out of a little golden book. Fairy foals are very small indeed. And this is a flip. Another one of the girls, she snuck up and popped her head over a fern, and she saw these fairy foals balancing on a reed over the pond. There they cautiously creep out in single file along a length of water reed, balancing on tips of their hooves while daring to keep their tiny wings folded. Here's a flip. Just love these images. And here's another one here. This is my 2 fabrics put together, laid onto my printer, and then I copied it onto my coffee dyed paper. Hiding beneath the fallen trees. So he's obviously balanced himself somewhere, and you can see some of the bugs on the garden soil there, and you've got the leaves there. And here's another couple hiding in the logs. End of the signature. This little foal loves riding the snails and slaters. And here you'll find one of my little matchbook notepads. And it also has a little pocket with a little index card. And that just tucks in there and just tucks in there. I've popped in a pen holder bookmark, okay, and I've used one of these beautiful pencils, and of course here you'll see some more of the beautiful eyelash trim and popped on some beads. The second signature, beautiful photo, beautiful picture I should say. Couldn't help myself. I don't know whether they in the garden or not, but I just had to put these lovely little deers in there. Here's another flip. Another flip there. I did a bit of stamping so it looks like, you know, it's flying into the grass, high grass. And butterfly, chasing the butterfly. Balancing on the tree. No, not tree, on the branches of flowers. And a bit about it here. And that just folds in, so you've got plenty of journaling space. Another one of my stickers. Now, the little girl that was switched on, that Savannah spoke to, she has a connection with animals and she has a connection with birds. So she's asked a little bird, I was wondering if you could show me a fairy foal. Okay, so off the bird flew, perched itself on a branch, and she was able to see a little fairy foal. Here's another, just a black and white page. You might like to colour it in. And of course, fairy foals love racing the bees and also the butterflies. Some mushroom sticker there. Just love the crunchiness of the paper. You know, they're not too heavily coffee dyed, but you know, you'll find the little coffee patches. And of course, here's the fairy foal again. The wind blew up. It must have spooked itself on something. This is the middle of the second signature. And of course, another one of the little girls found a fairy foal in the middle of this big daisy. So that was a really happy moment for her. And here's some more bees and the dragonfly. And that is a pocket. And this is one of the surprises. It's wrapped in wax paper. It's my painting paper, so I'll leave that as a surprise. This is out of a children's book. Just love how that looked. You know, you've got the root of a tree in the garden. And this has just got some extra coffee dyed paper to journal on. Come back here. This is, of course, is the lace that I copied onto the coffee dyed paper. Lots of fussy cutting out. Here is riding the, still amusing himself, riding on the shell of a snail. Here they all banded together, ready for a good night's sleep. Still racing the bees. You can just see a big bee there. Yep, it's night time again. So as you can see, I did some punches and I think it looks pretty effective. Just showing the different colour coming through. And of course, one of the girls, so disappointed, she was imagining to find a little fairy foal. She's quite sad. And little did she know there was a fairy foal right behind her on this little seed pods. And we get to the end. Fairy foals drift like thoughts and leaves, intangible shadows on the afternoon breeze. Where the garden is joyful and its mistress delight, there fairy foals drift like shadows of light. And of course, you know, here we've got another children's book page, another surprise in there. Still teasing the snail, and I did some stamping. Another adult fairy horse, another pocket, and I don't think I've got anything in this one, have I? I might have to put something in there. I'll leave that in there so to remind me. Bit more stamping, chewing on a strawberry. Another one of my stickers. You know, every garden has to have a ladybird bug there. Accident, I had my baby wipe and I had to get out quickly because someone sang out, so I, you know, just had to stop and just had my baby wipe in my hands and quickly wiped my hands and just plonked it on the table. Little did I know, because this was wrong, this was the side up. So when I came back, I had this big wet mark, and I looked on the back, I'm thinking, oh no, it's ruined this page. So I let it dry, but look at the colour formation. I mean, oh, and it did not damage that side, so I was able to put that in the journal. So remembering Savannah, when she was little, is what she reminisced, and she still talks to the animals. And there she is, all grown up, talking to the fish, of course, in the pond where the reeds are, where she used to find the fairy foals. And I've just made that into a journaling card, and that's a pocket. Okay, so that's the story of Savannah the fairy, and it's a flip. It just has my label there, and that's the end. So yes, so I hope you enjoyed this quick flip through. My apologies for not giving you a process video off the cover, but things just didn't go right at point of time and interruptions, and yeah, I just got a bit frazzled, I suppose, and just finished it. So this will be available in my Etsy store, and let me know of your thoughts. And I've made this, one thing I have to point out, even though this cover is quite taller than the pages, I need it tall so that I can put these eyelets in, and allows you to put an A4 page in without having to trim it off. So that was my thinking behind it. Okay, all right then, thanks for popping in and supporting my little channel. And that's come off now. I'll have to put that back on here. Oh, here it is. That's the bookmark. All right. Okay. All right, folks. I'll see you in the next video, and stay safe and happy crafting. Bye for now.